This video is brought to you by CM Storm, preferred choice of mice, headsets, and mechanical keyboards of Curse Gaming. Visit www.coolermaster-usa.com/team_curse for more details. Well, this is extremely exciting, guys. I know you don't necessarily like the white box unboxings as much as the retail box ones, but this is how they come when you get them prior to launch. And this is the GeForce GTX 650 Ti Boost Edition. So it's got GPU boost, which the old one didn't. It's got more RAM, which the old one didn't. It's got a wider memory bus, which the old one didn't. I mean, why are they even calling this thing 650 Ti? This is actually a major step up in terms of performance and the actual, technology that's inside it compared to the 650 Ti, and it addresses a very interesting spot in the market. So you can see it comes packed in some anti-static foam. NVIDIA wants the cards they send to reviewers to arrive in one piece. It also comes in an anti-static bubble wrap, which we're going to go ahead and open up, which is then inside an anti-static bag. So yes, it arrived safely, looking good, and hopefully when we throw this on the test bench for our review, it's going to function great, and I'm sure it will. So the first thing we see about the card is that it has NVIDIA's sort of signature Kepler Shroud. It looks really sharp, looks really good, but is actually not that, compared to something like the 690 or the Titan cooler, it is not as expensive to make. So you can see where there would have been a polycarbonate window to see the fins underneath and where there would have been a glowing logo, they've replaced that with a plastic textured pattern and then a green GeForce GTX on the top. It still looks sharp, but obviously this is slightly less expensive. They've got their exhaust fan, so it's a blower style fan on the back. This doesn't keep the GPU itself as cool as some of the dual fan designs that you're going to see from board partners, but what it does do is it takes all the air from inside your case and pushes it out the back. So this is great for small form factor systems or in systems where optimal ventilation is not necessarily available to you. You don't want to add a bunch of fans. So for quiet computing, this is often a better design. It's a PCI Express 3.0 card. So here on the bottom of the card, you see it's a 16X card. This is pretty much par for the course. And unlike the 650 Ti, it does have support for SLI, which makes sense because I've said this a lot of times, but for low-end cards, it usually makes more sense to buy a single better card versus buying two of them. So NVIDIA has gone ahead and they have segmented their graphics card and they've gone, okay, look, we're only going to put SLI on the cards where it may actually make sense to buy two of these cards and run them in SLI. The other thing that makes this card make more sense to run in SLI is the fact that it has a 192-bit bus, at least that's what my notes say anyway. There we go. 192-bit bus with 2 gigs of memory. So if you were to run two 1 gig cards in SLI, number one is you might get some more performance out of the GPU, but you're not actually going to be able to crank up your resolution because you're going to be limited. Remember, 2 cards running in SLI, each with a gig of memory, gives you a total of 1 gig of usable memory for the entire graphics subsystem. So giving this card 2 gigs of memory makes it suitable for modern games at 1080p. I'd say 1 gig is not quite enough. And this contrasts with AMD's recent launch of the 7790 having only 1 gig of memory. I'd say in this price class, although this one is a little bit higher, you got to have 2 gigs. It comes in under the price of the 7850, which given the performance numbers that I am led to believe I'm going to see but haven't tested yet, should make it very, very competitive. Last thing that very low power. Only a single 6-pin connector. The back, you can see the PCB is actually quite short, like some of the other GeForce cards we've seen, and they've gone with their Ego extension on the back of the card to make it look more like a more high-performance graphics card. Honestly, the PCB length does not affect the performance of the graphics card, and if you don't like the reference design, there will be plenty of cards available from guys like Asus, MSI, Gigabyte that are using a longer PCB with a larger cooler. The last thing that I'm really excited to see on this card is the fact that it has 4 outputs natively. On some of the lower-end Kepler cards before, we were seeing only 3 outputs, which means you can't support 3 monitors in surround plus an auxiliary display natively on the card without, well, you can't support it on the card unless the board partners implement the extra connectors on their own. Love to see this on the reference design because while this card, even though it's got 2 gigs of RAM, is probably not suitable for 3x1080p surround gaming and modern titles, it's nice to have that available as a productivity thing for guys who are like, oh, well, I want to get a decent card that I can run a nice multi-monitor setup on, and I can also game on a single monitor when I'm not working. So clock speed wise, GPU boost. Not only does it come with a higher base clock, so it's at 980 megahertz versus 925 on the older, cheaper card, although I believe that card stays current, so I can't necessarily call it older, but the previously released card, it also boosts all the way up to a typical boost clock of 1033. So this is at least 10% faster when it's running in boost mode versus that older card. That's really cool. Plus, that 192-bit bus and the extra memory gives you a ton more performance, and we're really, really excited to check it out. It also has 6 gigahertz GDDR5 memory, and I think that pretty much wraps it up. 768 CUDA cores, just like the old one. It is running the same GK106 GPU, and without further ado, thank you for watching this unboxing on Linus Tech Tips. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and I don't know, what else can I tell you guys to do? Go eat a banana. Go eat a banana, and then take the last bit of the banana, find a close relative of yours, walk up, take the piece of banana, and smush it onto their chest, and see what they say. Guys, leave a comment under the video with what your relative said when you did that. And that is it for the worst advice I've ever given in a video, ever.